I'd like to show you one other drum shortcut that you can use, making drum tracks for songs that you will create in GarageBand. I'm going to hit the plus button to create a new song. This time we're going to go over to the other drummer, and this has an interface that is somewhat like talking to a real drummer. So if you're saying, hey, who can we get to record drums on our new album? You might say, oh, I know this guy named Kyle. He plays Southern California set. He's an excellent drummer, and you can tell him what you want. And if I just press play, I can hear his 8 bars of drum kit immediately. Okay, but if I want Kyle to play something more simple, I just scoot this little button. If I want to play something a little bit more complex, scoot this button over to the right. Notice the waveform is changing as I do that. That's pretty complex, and the other was a little bit too simple. Perhaps in the middle is what I want to do. You can also tell Kyle what instruments you'd like him to use. Now, a drummer only has 2 hands and 2 feet, so typically what you get is a bass and a snare that are played with the hand and foot, and then you get another hand on either cymbals or toms, and possibly the other foot on the hi-hat. So you can say, oh, Kyle, I want you to play toms instead of cymbals. Or you can say, I want you to play cymbals instead of toms. But because he doesn't have more hands than that, you really can't ask Kyle to do more than what it's possible to do. You can tell him that you want more complex cymbals. Here, I'll put this on simple cymbals, simple snare, and kick. Here we go. And I'm going to turn up the kick and snare, so he's a little bit more busy on the kick and snare. And you can put him on cymbals and turn up the complexity of his cymbal playing. You can put him on toms. It's kind of a simple cymbal playing, simple toms there. More complex toms, and even more complex toms. Yeah, I kind of like that. Yeah, it's very interesting. You can also turn on percussion up here, hand claps, maracas, or tambourines. And let's add a tambourine to this and make it complex. Okay, as you continue to experiment with this, it's though you are telling Kyle exactly what to do. Now, you remember I said this is kind of like talking to a real drummer? Well, you're not actually limited to a single drummer here. I just tapped on Kyle's picture there, and over here is Logan. He plays hard and heavy rock and roll drums. Okay, I'll click on Logan there, and come over. Here's Magnus, here's Leah, Jasper, Maurice, Dez, Darcy, Mason, and so on. And each one of them has a description of the kinds of drums that they play. You can also customize other things about the drum set, how thick you want their fills to be, whether you want them to swing, be like a jazz style, do-ba-dee-ba-dee-ba, as opposed to do-da-dee-do-dee-do. So if the music swings, the drummer should swing. If the music doesn't swing, the drummer should play straight. Rock and roll is typically played straight. Jazz swing is played with a lilt. As soon as you select a drummer track, it composes a track for you for the measures that are in your song. And if you just click the track button, it goes back down to the song level, and you can see your track has automatically been added according to all the options and parameters that you set. Alright, you would save this and send it to yourself in exactly the same way as you did before. So tap on My Songs, click and hold on that, choose Rename, and I'll call this Floyd Richmond Auto Drums, and tell it done. And then when I am ready to submit that, I will tap and hold on it again, and when the menu pops up, I'll choose Share. I'll click the Song button, We'll hit the share button real carefully right there, and it should pull up a choice of options for me sharing this. Go over to email again, and now I can email this song to myself as soon as it's exported. Alright, and once I've emailed it to myself, I can submit it on my learning management system, or instead of emailing it to myself, I could just as easily have emailed it to my teacher if they instructed me to do that. Hit the send button and you're done. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about how drummers actually play, and also a little bit about making drum tracks for songs that you will create in GarageBand. Thank you very much.